How's it going, everybody? This is Dave from This is Pop Punk Promotions. I'm here with Jack from Bedtime for Charlie from Rome, Italy. How's it going?
All good, Dave. How you doing? Thank you for
Doing
having
great.
me.
Really appreciate you coming on. Let's dive right into it. So, when and how do you form?
Okay, so Bedtime formed back in 2001. We were all hella young back in the day. I think I wasn't even maybe 13 or 12 when the band formed. Different name, high school friends, just wanted to play some music. And that was it for a few years. The band is located in Rome. So not a lot of international punk rock going on in Rome at the time. Difficult place to get to if you're touring Europe because bands usually stop in Milan, but the city's always had a pretty good scene. And so it took us a while, but we managed to start playing shows locally and things kind of picked up from there. We recorded a bunch of self-produced records, played with all, the local heroes, uh, kind of started making a little bit of a name for ourselves. And I'd say the turning point for the band was when we started touring. So at the time, we befriended this other great Roman band. You probably know them, Jet Market. I recommend anybody who hasn't listened to them to go and check them out. Absolutely incredible band. And they were kind of our older brothers in a way. So they were a little older than us. They were already touring and playing shows, and they started taking us along with them. And we got so close that the two bands started doing this unholy thing of like exchanging members. So at one point, I started playing bass for Jet Market, and Alex, who is singer drummer for Jet Market, started playing guitar for Bedtime. So we had this sort of like mix of two bands with six members, which was optimal for touring and for just doing it with one band. And yeah, that's when we just managed to step our foot a little bit more internationally into the more international scene. We toured all over Europe, Eastern Europe. We did Japan a few times, and we had a few years in which we were really active. We put out I think three records and one EP in the span of like 3 or 4 years. Toured a lot. Got a lot of stuff done back in the day, and then we went on a hiatus. So it was a very long hiatus for about I'd say 10 years. So our last release before the record we just put out was an EP called Morningwood, which was released in 2014. So that's a while ago, and then life just got in the way. I started studying abroad. The other guys, had their stuff going on. Some of the members of the band got started other projects, and things kind of disbanded a little bit. But then a few years ago, we got excited about it again, and I started writing songs. We started demoing it again, just like remotely, because as I was saying, we don't live in the same country anymore, and that just turned out into this new record that just came out, Evergreen. That's
That's
in a
really sick.
nutshell.
You guys are part of the revolution.
I guess.
That's really awesome. So, in November, you guys dropped Nevergreen. How's the response been?
It's been really good, man. I mean, as I was saying, we didn't do anything for like almost 10 years. And we've never been a huge band. We always had a little sort of condensed following. But it was really great to see that, people still remembered about us, and the feedback was really good. So it got us excited to do more moving forward.
That's awesome. So, who did you record it with, and how's the process?
So Alex, who I already mentioned before, from Jet Market and guitarist in Bedtime, he is actually a producer. He has his own studio. It's called it recently changed name. It used to be called Hell Smell Studios, and it's called Shatterdome. And that's always been really handy for us because every time we had an idea or we had a project to work on, we could always do it with him. He's an amazing producer, by the way. He put out a lot of Italian and non-Italian bands, and the process for writing the record was a little tricky because so I sing and play bass in the band, and I've always been the songwriter. But then, as in many other bands, we usually arrange everything together. but this time we had to be a little bit inventive. So I would write the songs. I would send a demo with like vocals and guitar over to the other Alex. We have two Alexes actually on guitar, which is confusing. And he would, record electric guitars, put drums on it, send it back. I would sing it again, and so that's how we kind of got the demos done. We've always had a, let's say, a creative process which involves always going in the studio with everything like 100% finished or close to 100% finished, which it's always been important. I think we've never really been a jamming band, where you kind of go in the studio and get creative and sort of invent new stuff. We always have to have everything like studied and prepared. And yeah, and that just worked out great. Then I went back to Rome a couple times for a few weeks and hit the studio, and we managed to get it done.
Definitely feel you on that one. I feel like I would need to have like all my, my ducks like in a row before entering the studio so then I can just go in and just bang it out and be all done.
Yeah, man. I mean, the idea of going without everything done just makes me nervous. I know a lot of bands do that. I wish we could. It sounds really fun to just go with like rough ideas and flesh them out directly in the studio. But yeah, that's just how we always done things, I guess.
Very cool. So what would you say your favorite thing is and least favorite thing is about the writing and recording process?
Ooh, yeah, good question. So my favorite thing probably is the just I like the whole writing process in general. I mean, um, it's I've been doing it my whole life, so it's kind of like my comfort zone. Just like laying down rough song skeletons for songs, and figuring out where to how to make the lyrics fit, and sort of arranging everything around an initial idea. So let's say running and demoing is my favorite part of the process. Least favorite part of the process, probably singing in the studio. I'm used to like recording demos, very far apart one from the other and working a lot on vocals. But, on the studio or on the clock, you got to do it everything in the span of a few days. And I don't like doing that for vocals. Like I feel like my voice burns out really fast. And also, I don't know if, you might have had the same experience, but I never like the studio version as much as the demo version when it comes to vocals. Like there's always some little thing that I like more in the demo that I can't really manage to reproduce in the studio. And that kind of stuff drives me nuts, but I guess I've learned to coexist with it.
I'd say, yeah, that's a different answer. I feel like, most bands I ask this question to will say, the worst part is writing lyrics.
Writing lyrics. Oh, I quite enjoy that part actually. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's tough, but I like it. Obviously, another of my favorite parts is just getting together with the guys in the studio. That's always like a lot of fun. Also, the dudes in my band, we're just it's like my group of friends, So we hang out even outside of music, which is great. So it's always like a party when we manage to be in the same room together.
That's always good. I tell bands all the time, it's like if you're in a band and you want to like choke slam your fellow band members, then you probably shouldn't be in a band with them. But if
Yeah,
you're in a
exactly.
band with like, people that you love, you consider like brothers, like family, then it's probably gonna last for a long time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a relationship, right?
Yeah,
That's how it is. So you commit to it, and you gotta compromise on some things, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you get along and you kind of respect your bandmates.
that's amazing. So who would you say your biggest influences are?
Okay. Yeah, tough question. So growing up, I would consume a lot of, let's say, Southern California melodic hardcore. That's kind of what I got started on when it comes to punk rock. So, no effects, no use, Lagwagon, Bad Religion, all that scene. Obviously, moving forward, my taste changed a little bit. I started listening to different kind of things. Obviously, Blink had been there for my whole life, so as many of us. And I think recently, I mean, recently in the past, 10 years, I really started getting into the whole Midwest scene. So a lot of bands coming out of there, like Tiny Moving Parts, Um, I don't know. The Wonder Years, I don't know. They're not really Midwestern, but I kind of put them in that box. And, a lot of bands from that kind of corner of pop punk. So we got a lot of that. You know, I've always listened to the Foo Fighters growing up, Biffy Clyro, so these kind of like big rock bands. Also, I feel like had a lot of influence on, how I interpret music at least. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag.
It's awesome. So here's $1 million question for you. If you could play a show or tour with one of those bands, who would it be?
Oh man, I guess no use. Yeah, yeah, no use for sure.
That would be absolutely incredible. Rest in peace, Tony Sly.
Absolutely. I had the pleasure of meeting the guys as a fan years and years ago. We went to a show and showed up really early, and they like me and my friend were there at like I don't know 3 p.m. before the show, and they saw us and came out and talked to us. They were super nice, super chill guys. So I bet it would have been a pleasure to tour with them.
That's so sick. I'm super jealous.
It was just like a 5 minute conversation, but I still remember
Hey, 5 minutes is better than zero.
it. There.
So you're from Rome, Italy. How is the punk rock scene there now? Do you have a favorite local band, a favorite venue?
Yeah, man. I mean, so I was mentioning to you before the scene has always been really good in Rome. We had like in the early 2000s there was a lot of bands. We had this legendary hardcore band called Two Kill. Actually, our current drummer used to be the drummer for this band, and they were a really big deal back in the day. We had Jet Market, which I mentioned before. There was a lot of more like pop punk bands. There was a great band called Friday Star back in the day, which absolutely incredible band. Vanilla Sky were another band that made it out of Rome and were great. A lot of bands coming in when the scene turned a little bit more towards the kind of emo pop punk era, in the early 2010s. Um, right now, there has been, we were mentioning before, there's been a bit of a resurgence of the genre, right? So there's a lot of young bands now coming out of Rome. Um, if I can think of, there's this really cool band. They do sing in Italian, but I think people should check them out. They're really sick. They're called Lila, Lilla. Great band. Um, so yeah, I have a little bit of a blackout now, but
Putting you on the spot.
yeah,
All good. That's really cool. So now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you as a person. I did this with the other bands. You ready to roll?
let's do it.
Our first one. Favorite food?
Ooh, ramen.
Can never go wrong with ramen. Which flavor is your favorite?
Ooh, so I like the one with soy sauce. Is tonkatsu, I think. Yeah, I'm not a super expert, but I think that's it. Yeah.
Well, now I'm getting really hungry. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
If you could be any animal, which one and why?
All right, so I'm a dog person, but I would definitely choose cats because cats don't do shit all day. They just sleep and eat and get cuddled and have to give nothing in return. So,
Living the good life.
yeah, man.
Very cool. If you had $1 million and you could donate it to any charity, which one?
So I would go for something like probably like emergencies, Doctors Without Borders, these guys that are in the front lines helping out people, maybe even um, NGOs that go and save migrants in the Mediterranean Sea. There's Open Arms, I think, is one, Sea Watch. So maybe something along those lines.
Cool. Last question. What are some places in Rome that visitors should check out?
Okay, so places in Rome, I'd say there's a great bar venue called Alvarado Street that I always recommend people to check out. It's a great like little punk rock pub. I would say There's a few cool neighborhoods that are kind of off the beaten track. One is Trastevere, kind of popular with foreigners, but really fun spot to go and hang out. There's a lot of stuff going on. Another area is called Pineto, also a great spot. Very hip neighborhood, a lot of bars, a lot of clubs. And when it comes to historical stuff, Rome's full of it. I would say, apart from all the sort of more famous stuff, there's a thing called the Keyhole, which is a little hidden gem. So people can just look it up on Google, and I always recommend that to people that are visiting.
Then when I go over to Rome, we can hit up all those spots.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm a sucker for the places that are underground, the places that only really locals go to.
Yeah, man. Same. There's so many in Rome as well because you have the more obvious stuff, and then there's so many hidden things that people don't know. But
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, and the support means the world to me.
thank you so much, Dave. Thanks a lot for having me on. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so great to do it with you.
Of course. So for the people that are going to watch this interview later, where can they find your music at?
So they can find us on every stream platform, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your music from, YouTube Music. We have a Bandcamp page, so just Google us, you'll find us.
Do what the man says. Go to the websites, buy a shirt, buy a CD, buy a vinyl, support local music. You guys are absolutely crushing it. Keep up the sick work.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Of course. I hope you have a great night. We'll chat soon.
And you, man. Take care.
Peace.